Hi, everybody. My name is Sabrina Hutchinson. I'm the CEO of Defiant PR, and today I have the privilege of speaking with two fantastic composers who have just scored the new film Tuscaloosa, Joshua Mosley and Matt Hutchinson. The film is dropping today, March 13th on Apple TV Plus and Amazon. And I'd love to just do a quick intro, a little bit about fantastic composers. Joshua Mosley is an award-winning composer and producer for film, television, video games, and recording artists. His work can be heard on projects for studios such as 20th Century Fox, Sony Pictures, Lionsgate, Skydance, Marvel, Paramount Pictures, Tencent, Amazon, DreamWorks, Universal, Overbrook Entertainment, Electronic Arts, and many more. Recently, Josh scored the sequel to Burning Dolphin 2 for Lionsgate. Josh?
Hey, how's it going?
Folks.
What's up?
Matt Hutchinson is an award-winning television and commercial composer based in Los Angeles. His slate of TV and film credits includes The Sagebrush Sea on PBS, Mysteries of Laura on NBC, the Emmy-nominated main title sequence for The Grid. His music can be heard in the horror feature Ma, starring Octavia Spencer, The Fix on ABC, Best Worst Weekend on Netflix, Shameless, and in trailers and promos for Ray Donovan. Matt also scored My Father's Son, one of the top 5 films at the Louisiana Film Prize in 2017, Fanny Pack, which won numerous awards, including the audience favorites at the DC Shorts Film Festival, and Butterflies, starring John Malkovich. He also scored the recent film Julia Scotti, Funny That Way, and can also be known for his studio band, Dormarian, collaborating with vocalist Kevin Martin of Candlebox, and Rock and Roll Hall of Fame drummer Dave Cruzen of Pearl Jam. I'm gonna leave it right there, and I'm just gonna turn it over to you two fine folks. Matt, say hi.
Hello.
So we're gonna just try to jump right in and talk about Tuscaloosa. We had a bit of a change of plans today, which Tuscaloosa was gonna have a screening here in Los Angeles, and due to current state of things, as many things have been changed up. So we wanted to go ahead and have a panel and talk about the score and let people know about the good work you did on this project. So I'm going to start with Josh. Josh, can you talk a little bit about how this project came to you and what interested you in working on this film?
Sure. The project basically came from a cold call I made to the producer, and it was about a completely different project. We met up, I think maybe a couple months after that for lunch, and about 6 months after that, I got a call from him about Tuscaloosa, and connected me with Patrick. Heard more about the story, and was really drawn to it, and definitely knew it was something I wanted to be a part of.
That's awesome. And what about for you, Matt?
Yeah, I received a call from Josh, and Josh and I have been working together in various capacities for probably 15 years now.
Yeah.
And we actually went to school together years ago. So we've collaborated in the past, but never on a feature film. We had talked about wanting to do this, and so he called and said, "Hey, I think I've got a really great project for the two of us to collaborate on." I have a lot of strengths with I'm a guitarist and play a lot of different stringed instruments, and that was something we knew we were going to be wanting to use in this score, or at least that we felt we would be. And so that was kind of the driving force there. And as soon as Josh sent me the information about the film, and I saw, I think, a rough cut of it, I was totally in.
That's fantastic. So let's talk a little bit about Tuscaloosa. So this film takes place in around 1972. It's towards the end of the Vietnam, and racial tensions are very high, and the civil rights era is in full swing.
Yes.
Talk a little bit about the feeling of this film, and as you and the director spoke, Josh, what was the vision for the sound of the film?
Sure. Yeah, I mean, the overall feeling of this film, definitely, it's grounded in like this kind of darker romantic drama feel, but there's definitely an underlying tension with them between the main character and his father with this whole civil rights thing that's happening. And we definitely wanted to speak to that and help tell that story through the music. And it led to some really cool ideas that Matt and I were able to come up with.
That's awesome. So yeah, the synopsis of the film is Alabama, 1972. As Billy falls for a patient at his father's mental asylum, his best friend becomes involved in a radical civil rights movement against Tuscaloosa's power elite. Matt, when you and Josh began first talking about this project, what was the feeling? What was the sound? You know, you mentioned there being a guitar influence, but what was your approach and your and Josh's approach to creating a sound for this film?
Well, at first, this taking place in the South and in 1972, we initially thought there might be room for, kind of that rootsy Americana vibe that you would, maybe expect to hear. And so we initially started playing around with instrumentation like that, guitars and banjos and all sorts of different stringed instruments. And we decided that we wanted to try to do something a little bit maybe unorthodox with those instruments. So rather than just doing a very traditional score, we wanted to try to find new ways of using those instruments. And especially after speaking with the director, he talked a lot about not wanting the score to sound expected, and he wanted there to be, even though this is a romantic film, he wanted there to be a sense of tension and kind of almost a sense of danger throughout. He would use the phrase punk rock a lot. And so, that was something that we tried to, in our own way, infuse into the score. Yeah. Well, what do you think, Josh? Does that sound right?
Yes, you nailed it right on the head there. So, yep, exactly. We just, it definitely opened up possibilities for us to expand kind of the whole scope sonically, what we wanted to do with it, bring some more kind of modern elements to it. But we were able to kind of capture that grassroots kind of vibe by using like solo violin, solo cello, and just kind of really like raw and minimally processed, and just kind of rooted everything with that. But yeah, it was really fun experience coming up with some new stuff.
That's great. So this film stars Devin Bostick, Natalia Dyer, Marshawn Davis, Tate Donovan, YG, Ella Ray Peck, and Burgundy Baker. Were there any themes in the score? And I also want to talk about, there's going to be a soundtrack that's coming out. So were there this is a thematic project for you? And if so, how did you decide, who or what was going to get themes?
Sure. So there is a general theme, I would say, kind of just the general Tuscaloosa theme that kind of evolved over time. We wanted something that wasn't too melodic, but that definitely made itself known when it was there. It doesn't have its full realization of it till towards the end of the movie, but we were able to kind of quote it here and there, sprinkle it throughout the film. And yeah, it turned out great. It definitely kind of captures there's a sadness to it, and there's something thought-provoking that's there. Yeah, Matt, anything to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you pretty much summed it all up. There were, I feel like we ended up using the cello largely for Devin's character, and
Yes.
then the violin kind of became representative somewhat of Natalia's as well. So the instruments that you hear sometimes, were influenced by which character we're trying to comment on at the time. And of course, sometimes it's layered together. And then, yeah, just that general overall Tuscaloosa tone and theme. I think, Josh, he had written that kind of, I think he came up with that idea earlier on, but we kind of, backward reverse engineered it. So,
for sure.
What's that, Josh?
So yeah, I went through a few iterations where we simplified the theme, so it wasn't so Phil, the director, wasn't wanting something too long of a statement, and but it became what it was.
Yeah. Oh, we lost your audio there, Sabrina.
Sorry, I had to mute my audio because there's somebody doing the grass outside. Behind the scenes.
Yep.
talk about, I know there are a lot of bowed instruments in this score and in the soundtrack. Matt, can you talk a little bit about kind of, you know, some of that and some of your choices for the bowed instruments?
Absolutely. So yeah, like I said earlier, we kind of had this idea of taking instruments like a guitar or a banjo and trying to do something a little unorthodox with it. So for example, I'd take a banjo and I would use, you know, like a small bow to create, you know, effects and ostinatos with the banjo. So it didn't sound like a violin or anything like that. It was kind of a different sound, but it kind of achieved that a similar effect that you might get with like a tremolo on a violin, for example.
Yeah.
Or even just like sound effects, you know, screechy sounds and things like that. And then even things like, you know, with a banjo in particular has a resonator plate and basically like a snare drum. And so I would use that a lot for percussive elements, or even just, you know, I would kind of just brush the you know, the front of the banjo and kind of get a brushed tone. So there's a lot of different things that we did. We also used an electronic bow called an e-bow, and normally you hear it with electric guitar, but you can use it on acoustic instruments too. And so we did that a lot, and we would just layer up many you know, individual notes played by the e-bow, and then kind of build pads and chords out of them that way and process them further. So it's interesting. Like Josh said, we had, you know, with the cello and the violin, we had a very close mic, very dry, very heavily rosined sound, and it was very raw. But with a lot of the other instrumentation, it was almost the opposite. We were taking it and really mangling the sound into something, you know,
Right.
you know, imperceptible to what it originated as. So what it originated as, I can't talk. So yeah.
Yeah, Josh, anything to add there with regard to kind of some of that, you know, instrumentation, how you really, you know, change things from more of an organic to more of a processed sound?
Sure. I mean, yeah, Matt pretty much covered it. So just basically with what the kind of the stuff that he was creating and I was creating, we were able to kind of develop the whole, you know, palette for the sound for the whole score, the sound of Tuscaloosa. And yeah, it led to a lot of really cool stuff. You know, you get those cool little happy accidents where you're experimenting and doing this weird stuff, and you're like, oh, this is great, and it becomes like a real cool featured part of the score. But yeah.
That's awesome. Now there's going to be a soundtrack out. Can you talk about that a little bit, Josh?
Soundtrack?
Yeah.
Yes, it will be out later this month, released by Lakeshore Records. And Matt and I are super excited about it. Excited for everybody to check it out. We are putting a good amount of work on there, about the amount of cues that didn't end up in the film, and it gives kind of everybody a different or an expanded look on what we did creatively, musically on it.
That's great. All right. Well, just in the space of keeping this short and sweet, is there anything else you guys would like to let people know about the film, the score, the soundtrack before we bring off?
Well, the film dropped today, which is March 13th. So go watch it. It's on Apple TV.
Yeah.
Apple TV Plus, I should say, as well as Amazon Prime and a lot of the other streaming platforms. So Vudu, I believe, for sure. So yeah, go check it out, and soundtrack to follow very soon.
Yes. Second that. Go check it out. Great film, powerful story, and hope you guys enjoy the music.
That's awesome. Josh, anything to add that people should be on the lookout for you that you have coming up? Any projects that you're able to share about right now?
Yes, I'm currently working on a show called Alt that will be out on HBO Max platform in May. Really cool, kind of edgy sci-fi thriller type show. Also working on a doc with Universal Music Group, Quality Control, it was supposed to be premiering at Tribeca, so some way we'll find out how the audience can check that out, pending everything that's happening.
That's great. And where's the best place for people to stay up to date on what you've got going on, Josh?
Yeah, basically just follow me on my Instagram. This is Joshua Mosley Music. and Joshua R. or Joshua Mosley on Facebook. And those are probably the best to get up to date. And feel free to check out the website as well.
That's awesome. And Matt, what about for you? Anything that you have coming up that you can talk about?
Yeah, I'm currently co-scoring a television series called Earth to Ned for the Jim Henson Company. And I'm excited for that to premiere soon. I'm not sure exactly on the premiere date, but it'll be sometime this summer. I just wrapped up, I think you maybe mentioned this in the beginning, I just wrapped up scoring a documentary called Julia Scotti, Funny That Way, which is a really powerful documentary about a transgendered woman who's makes her living as a comedian, and it's pretty compelling. So yeah.
And then you have another album project in the works as well?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I am working on a personal project. As you mentioned earlier, I've done some things in the past under the Dormarian banner with Kevin, Martin, and Dave. And excuse me. And but I'm actually currently working on something that's completely new, tentatively called The Last Robot, and it's kind of a concept album. You know, I started my career playing in bands in Seattle in the mid '90s, and so I always kind of like to keep one toe dipped in that pool, and so I'm really excited to continue working on that.
Great. And where can people find you online?
You can find me on Instagram, Matt Hutchinson Composer, and you can also find me on the web at my website at matthutchinson.com.
Great. Okay, so thank you for taking the time to talk, and thanks to everybody who
Our pleasure.
has thanks to everybody who's watching and who may or may not have time available this weekend to go on Apple TV Plus and or Amazon and check out Tuscaloosa. We are going to be having a watch party this evening, Friday the 13th. So look out for that. Defiant PR Facebook group and Facebook page, information to follow. Thanks a lot, you guys. Bye.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Bye.